Now, Parliament remains a failed institution. That's according to the organisation Undoing Tax Abuse. And they put together a report every single year. And their latest report on parliamentary oversight states exactly that. It found that for the fifth year in a row, it has failed to deliver on its duty to effectively scrutinise executive action. The report further says that Parliament has been destroyed by the cruel reality of poor governance. For more on this, let's bring in Outa's Parliamentary Engagement and Research Manager, Rachel Fischer, who joins us this morning. Rachel, a very good morning to you and thank you for your time. This is the fifth year of the report, and every single year you seem to have a theme or an outcome about what that particular year is about for you as Outa. Could you take us through, perhaps since 2019 or so, what those specific themes have been and where we are right now, what Outa is looking at as far as parliamentary services are concerned?
Yes, and thank you for having me and also giving the organisation Undoing Tax Abuse an opportunity to present on this. Particularly, yes, this being our fifth year. Now, to make it clear, we do have certain indicators that we follow each year when we do our research and preparation for these reports. And these, there are standard indicators. We do research, we count the number of meetings, how many meetings the executive attend, etc. So, we ought to think that every year there would be some form of an improvement or concerted efforts on items that require attention. But sometimes it seems to be going downhill instead. And from there, we need to track it through what is happening within the meetings. Now, what we have seen now over the past 5 years are what we call almost the post-state capture years. So from 2019 onwards, we're sitting under a new president, so Zuma is out, and we've been hoping to see that there have been concerted efforts towards addressing what has occurred in state capture. So we do know that last year for 2022, that the recommendations and all the submissions from the reports on the state capture inquiry were submitted to Parliament. Now, we were hoping with the 2023 version that we will actually see Parliament taking this opportunity, grabbing the implementation plans that they've put forward, that the President put forward, and run with it to effect changes. Now, it's particularly in this instance that we have found it to be lackluster, because over the 5 years, the different opportunities presented to really grapple with the wake and the consequences do not seem to have been at the topmost priority of Parliament.
One of the things that you also outline in your report that you focus on is Parliament's inability to hold the executive to account. You've noticed this. Why is the question that I would like to ask, and how can this then be reversed?
Yes. So 3 good examples to consider, and that we have also seen in previous years, particularly around 2021, is that we have the Portfolio Committee of Ethics and Members' Interests that need to consider ethics and the behaviour of members of Parliament. If there are concerns, one can make submissions that have to be investigated. But it almost seems as though ethical or unethical behaviour is being rewarded. So if there have been instances of transgression, the penalties are extremely low. You might recall that in May, Mosebeni Zwane was also sanctioned, which we did welcome. But the penalty for his involvement within state capture was to be put on probation for 1 term from Parliament. So you can almost see it as effectively being put on paid leave for over 8 weeks approximately. And then the fine was also only 5 days worth of salary. That is approximately 20,000 Rand. Now, to consider various transgressions and the weight, once again, of state capture, only having a penalty of 20,000 Rand doesn't do much, right? And he was also mandated to appear in National Assembly and apologize on the said date. He never appeared. He never apologized to the other MPs. So you are dealing with an institution that takes the stance and almost supports those that have been behaving unethically. Secondly, what we have been picking up, once again, is the lackluster implementation of the state capture recommendations. once again, we really thought that this would have been a great opportunity to do something about it.
Let me ask you, Rachel, when we talk about lack of accountability in Parliament, what we are seeing is that even when a member of Parliament has been found guilty of a transgression, that yes, they may be removed as a minister, but they will resurface in another senior position within a particular political party. So how does one actually get that level of accountability in a Parliament that actually still has a large majority of like ANC members, for example, because it's quite clear that the party will take care of its own?
Well, look, there's a very big difference between what should happen, right, and actually what happens. It is almost near impossible to get rid of a minister if they are transgressing. Look how long it took the former public protector, Mekwabani, to actually be removed from her post. Now, this has gone through an extensive process over 2 years, and we only got the result now in August and the recommendations for her to be removed. We are sitting with an instance with the Portfolio Committee on Health, where every year there's the budget review and recommendations process, where the Portfolio Committee is presented with research from the Auditor General of South Africa on the financial management of the government departments. And we need to see, are the programs meeting targets? Are they spending their budgets? Are they effectively delivering? Now, within the instance of health, one of the Portfolio Committee members, and actually from the EFF, called to task saying that nowhere in this review process is the minister being held to account and their performance being measured and tracked. And they were very quickly muffled by being told to say that it is not the job of portfolio committees to look at the performance of the executive. They must only look at the government's performance or the government department's performance. Now, and that was quite shocking. That was captured verbatim in minutes.
Rachel, I'm going to have to let you go in a moment, but just before I do, one other issue that you've really highlighted is the seeming resistance to electoral reform. The Constitutional Court has ordered that is something that needs to unfold. Your view and your comments on that, and why there seems to be tardiness in implementation?
Well, yes, electoral reform. So it will change the status quo. And I suppose just straightforward, why would those that are very comfortable want to change the status quo? Because it is disrupting, but it is important. One of the biggest issues we've encountered is a lack of public participation and a lack of meaningful public participation. And this is an overall theme that we find in our reports, where it's extremely insular. It's very resistant to change because it's uncomfortable. And it's keeping out those in civil society, experts and research to actually contribute and assist with recommendations.
Rachel, we're going to have to leave it at that. We have to leave it at that, unfortunately, for this morning. But thank you so much for chatting to us and waking up bright and early to join us.